In this episode, we're in full swing of the whitetail rut. I had the pleasure of seeing more deer in this one day than I had in many seasons that I've hunted in my life. November 9th, 2020 will be forever etched into my brain. This particular day was a full-blown deer parade, and I saw a full-fledged whitetail rut. No hype, no myth, no urban legends. These deer were running themselves bonkers looking for love. This channel is about adventure, good times with friends, cooking, reviews, tips, and much, much more. If you're into any of those things, please like and subscribe, and I'll share content as I'm able. This trip was my first attempt to self-film, so this video really doesn't do the amount of deer that I saw justice, as I was not able to capture all of it on film. It was a truly awesome experience. Also had 2 encounters with 2 really nice bucks. The first was trailing a doe who came out to my left, crossed the road, and went into the bedding area. Not far behind, a buck was trailing her, but not running her. As the buck came up to the roadway, I was trying to judge age and size and all these different things to decide if I was going to take a shot or not. And so in this process, I reluctantly took too much time to pick up my bow. As I did pick up my bow, the deer stepped into the roadway, and by the time I could have drawn back and gotten a shot on it, he went into the bedding area pursuing his potential mate. The next encounter was with a stud of a deer. I heard crashing and grunting in the bedding area in front of me. Then a doe popped out in the roadway to my right. I grabbed my rangefinder and ranged the spot where the doe had popped out, and it was about 60 yards. It was too far for a bow shot. So, as I expected, I saw a flash of antlers, and the buck stopped just before coming out to the roadway. As he came out into the roadway, I grunted and stopped him. Unfortunately, he wasn't comfortable with the call that I gave, and he wheeled around and bolted back into the bedding area. Very cool encounter. The rest of the trip was much the same. Deer encounters, decisions, calling, reactions. It was the best experience I've had while deer hunting. I did take a shot at a nice buck on day 5, but with all that was going on, I didn't have time to cut the camera on and swing the camera arm around and get the camera into position because so much happened in a very short amount of time. Much like I did with the previous buck, this buck stepped out. I ranged him 42 yards. It was twilight, so I drew back, got my pin position where I thought it needed to be, touched off, and watched the arrow sail under the deer. Deer didn't freak out, didn't run away. He kind of wheeled around, startled, and so I grabbed my doe bleat, bleated one time behind my back, the can call, and that gained some interest, and he went out to about 60 yards and then started to look. So I grabbed my grunt call and I grunted a couple of times, and he circled around, and eventually he got within 45 yards, and had he not been, the majority of his body been behind a tree, I would have tried to take another shot. I don't know if he crossed my scent trail or what happened, but he ended up, I believe, winding me, and then he jumped off the ridge and then kind of went on. On the last day, I hunted a different bottom because the wind wasn't in my favor to hunt in Coffin Corner again. This stand was not far from Coffin Corner, and so I could expect to see, a lot of the same things that I've seen, in the trip before. I saw 4 deer that morning, and one buck was probably 80 yards away. I did call, but never could get him to come in. Although I'm disappointed I didn't harvest the deer, I had one of the best hunting trips I've ever had in my life. I got to spend a week doing what I love with my buddies, experiencing the whitetail rut in a new area, learning a lot of really cool things, being a part of a lot of cool encounters, and just spending time at deer camp with great people. Speaking of buddies, my buddy punched his tag on this nice buck. It's a nice deer, Rusty. What kind of crossbow you got?
High country. Got 10 points.
Nice. Rage broadheads?
Yes. 130 yards.
Pretty cool. In the next video, I'll break down the things that I learned on this trip. I'll call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Tune in for that. Thanks for watching.